Gentlemen.
Pressure makes diamonds are cold.
Gentlemen.
Diamonds are cold, yeah.
Gentlemen.
Pressure makes diamonds are cold.
Gentlemen.
Diamonds are cold, yeah. It's just two dudes being gents talking sports.
That's what I love about Wyatt. He can talk himself into anything.
Welcome in to episode 66 of Two Gents talking sports and shit. It's been a long time, brother. We've had
a long time.
It really has. We've had some moments and we've had some non-moments. Just a quick side note. I'm playing a video game on my phone called Last War. It's really fun. It's kind of a collect and it's you'd have to play it to get it. But we did this game where we played against another troop and we got on Discord, right? So we got on this Discord app where everybody's on there chit-chatting and shit like that. And we hooked up our sets to everything. So I just came in here and hooked up my mic and headphones to my phone and then was able to talk with everybody while we were having this war against other people. And they did every assault imaginable in prison that you could do to somebody without me getting too perverse. But we were brutally subjugated to just, if you could define putrid, that's what you would define it as. It was bad. And we just got smoked, and we're all degenerates kind of. So by the time like we got down so bad that it was just like, we're not coming back to win, we just started talking shit. And it was fun and it was awesome. But you know what?
Let's camaraderie right there.
It was fun. Yep. But we were talking about how Twitch and all that kind of shit. Yeah, it's not that hard to hook up once you kind of figure it out.
You got to go.
But
Discord,
I know some people on there that.
Yeah,
I think the people on there, actually, a couple of them might be able to help us out with some stuff like that. So we may come streaming to other avenues and things like that. I want to apologize to the listeners for us being away so long. I had a lot of family stuff going on. You had family stuff going on. We were not able to get into the finals as much as we could. We had a great finals, though. Halliburton went down. Yep, yeah. Halliburton went down. I think that'll be the main thought.
Yeah, I don't think they got talked about enough. I think people were just kind of like, it happens. They were like, it happens.
Yeah.
Anyways, Shea.
Yeah, not in Game 7.
I was like, all right. Yeah.
That
sucked.
I think that people that talked about it like that will be the same people that try to talk about it in the future, and everybody's just going to be like, yeah, no, I only remember Indiana from that postseason, because that's all I'm going to remember.
Yeah. They remember
what
DJ
about you?
McConnell, right?
Yeah. Yes. That little white boy's got some sauce.
You're even going to remember him.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So today, though, we're going to go into it. Oklahoma City won the championship. It was a good win for them. That's their first title as Oklahoma City. Seattle got another title, but I don't count that one. The Lakers can count the ones from Minneapolis if they want, but whatever. We're not going to go into that tonight, though. We're going to talk about the draft because it's Friday night. The draft was the last two nights. Cooper Flagg, who's from Mayne, the main man, as people are saying. Don't do anyone. Yeah.
Come on, man.
A guy said, can we stop using that pun? And can Mayne stop getting so much press? This is the most press that Mayne has had in the history of anything besides lobster.
You a Mayne, but you ain't.
You a Mayne,
though.
It's my main mayonnaise.
You're gonna come out with this microphone.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about the draft. We're gonna go into the top 10 picks. We're gonna go into what we think about it. I want to start out just by saying that Dallas may have won the Luka trade that everybody sees as this, this destructive trade, that Nico Harrison was an idiot and all this. And nobody knew they were going to get the number one pick. It felt a little rigged. But in all honesty, I don't think Cooper Flagg is going to be the best player out of this draft. So what are your thoughts
about that? Yeah, I could see.
Yeah,
a couple
we just
guys.
talked. We might as well go into Cooper Flagg.
Definitely the favorite to be Rookie of the Year, but there's a couple other systems that other players are playing in, other rookies are playing in that can help them, just have a more seamless transition into the NBA, where he's going to have to. He might get the touches and all that because Kyrie's down, but that means he's going to see the number 1 and 2 best defenders. So if if the ball's going to go through him, it's going to be probably be a long season for him and the.
So I got a quick question. From what I've heard, they're going to have a supplanted point guard. They're going to bring somebody in. The three options that I heard were Dimwitty, Chris Paul and D'Angelo Russell. Which do you think would be the best fit there to do what they need to do? I personally think it's Chris Paul, even at his age, because he would be responsible for nothing but getting those guys the rock. And
I could see Dinwiddie being okay, but I don't know. He's not. I don't. Besides in Brooklyn, when they went on that run there, what, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I don't think he's really seen high ball usage.
No, I don't want to go to a party in your pants.
And he's not a true playmaker. That's the problem with D'Angelo Russell and him. Neither one of them are actual facilitators, actually would be good for this. I think you put Paul in there with Anthony Davis, Gafford, Lively, and Cooper Flagg, and it could get interesting. And you still got Clay outside.
Yep.
Yeah, you still got Clay outside. Now, it is the West, so it'll be tough. But I thought that was an interesting point that needed to be made with them. But I feel like, you know what, let's just go into we're going to go into this. I have some sentences, kind of questions, and I just want you to kind of answer them. I'm just going to do the top 10 picks. That's what we're going to do, all right? We're going to make this a nice, quick one tonight. So I want to start out with Cooper Flagg. Is he really that guy that will lead you to an NBA championship? Can he be the number one guy on an NBA championship team? What do you think?
I think he can. I think he has the possibilities because he has the awareness, the IQ, he has a good size. He needs. I think once he gets bigger and thicker, because I think he's a lot like Tatum. And Tatum was very skinny early in his career, also, and he started the ball past 3 years or so, really putting some heavy muscle on.
I feel like he's more stout than Tatum, just like a little bit more.
A little bigger. I think he's a little bigger than him.
A little bigger, a little more stout. Better defensively already.
I think he just plays more for the team, and he's thinking more about how can I help the team and make the team better. And I think that's kind of what truly makes a superstar. So I think, maybe 6 years down the road. I mean, what are the 26 is the age where the stars go from a star to a superstar, or 30.
Well, hell yeah, that's 6 years. He'd be 24. What's he? He's 18, right? 18, 19. Yeah, even 6 years, he's only gonna be 25. So yeah. I tend to defer just a little bit because, in my opinion,
it's a long roast for him. It's going to be a longer roast for him than some of these other guys.
But I think about it, and I'm like, they're obviously in a win now situation because Anthony Davis and Kyrie aren't getting any younger. Now, can they rebuild after this? Sure. But it's like right now is when they have the best possibility with him to do anything. That's in all honesty.
Right.
And I'm thinking, is he as good as Anthony Davis? No. Can he be the second or third option on a championship team? I'm sure he could. But I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about him, but that's just me. I told you coming in, I thought Tatum was a good thing, but remember what's always been said about Tatum. He is a great player. He'll never be the number one player in the world.
Yep. True that.
And that's what I'm curious. I feel like Cooper Flagg's already he's a better ball distributor. He's already a better shooter, and he's a better defender than Tatum was coming out of Duke. He's already much better at those things. So he could, we'll have to see. Like I said, I feel like he's probably like a 15-8, 17-8 to 9 guy in his first year, and that'll be impressive, and that'll probably get him Rookie of the Year. But do I ever see him scoring 30 points a game in the NBA? And the answer is no. And that's okay, because we know that there are guys out there that don't need that to be successful. Halliburton's a perfect example of that. So the number one pick, obviously, Cooper Flagg. So let's roll on.
Really good number two.
Yeah, and you know what? I could be wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes moves and gets, like you said, I feel like his driving and his ability to move on ball with the ball in his hands is not good enough to be like a guy like Luka, a guy like Jokic, a guy like those cats. I don't feel that he's got those kind of skills, but he could gain them, and we'll have to see. That's all right or wrong about it. So, Dallas wins, Dallas wins the draft kind of just because he's the most pro ready and he's the guy that everybody loves. So we'll call Dallas winning the draft, I guess, but we're going to make another appointment on that. So number 2, The second pick goes to San Antonio. They got Dylan Harper, and
ESPN said
what's that?
It said that Atlanta, they give Atlanta the highest grade.
Yes, Atlanta. Well, Atlanta, and we're gonna let's go into Atlanta kind of towards the end of this. I do want to talk quite a bit about them because they fleeced New Orleans 2 times in a row with 2 different GMs and 2 different trades.
This is not your job.
It's almost yeah. Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on
yeah.
you. Fool me twice.
Yeah.
And 3 times.
We don't
and
get
4
fooled
times.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
Yeah. So number 2 pick was Dylan Harper. He went along to the San Antonio Spurs. We knew he was going there. And I've watched this kid and I've seen his, I've done a good amount of research on him. And I believe he's going to be the best player in this draft. He's a lefty. He's got all the tools necessary. He's Ron Harper's son. He comes from an NBA pedigree. I feel like he's going into the best situation with the youngest superstar in the league right now in Wembanyama. He's already got great back defense. He's a good defender. And they also grabbed Carter Bryant at 13 or I think no, not 13. They grabbed him at I think 12 to 15. They grabbed another guy who was supposed to be a top 10 prospect. So they got 2 top 10 prospects in the first 15 picks. And I really feel that he's going to be a stud. What do you think about Dylan Harper?
Trying to look up the Spurs grade really quick.
They got an A too. They're right there. To be honest, Atlanta's grade comes more from what they got for next year because New Orleans they're just terrible with Brooklyn and these cats. But here's what I have to ask about Dylan Harper though. What happens with De'Aaron Fox? And the reason I ask is because Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper right now are better assets. Stephon Castle doesn't need the ball as much. He was your rookie of the year. You called it.
Got one thing right last year out of all the major sports.
There you go. And I feel like they're better assets. They have the youth and upside, and Fox doesn't really play well with others, including Halliburton. So what's the deal? Do you see anywhere?
What's the deal?
What's the best move there? Do you think they keep all 3, or do you think they make another move with Fox?
Yeah, I don't think Fox plays nice with others, so I think they can trade him and get some kind of maybe unprotected kind of pick. We were talking about that earlier, using that term. Something like that. If they can get something like that out of it, yeah, I would probably do something like that because it's not like he's a great defender or anything that's going to help you go on a 7-0, 9-0 streak or something like that late in a playoff game or something like that because of the defense of your team. So I don't know. I don't think he's the culture that they really necessarily need right now, but I think he was more of trying to fill a hole or a Band-Aid type deal last year. So.
Well, they didn't know they were getting Dylan Harper. This is a shitty thing for Fox, in my opinion. I think it's tough. I think he ends up in a situation where he's having a really, he's in a perfect situation with Wemby, and then all of a sudden they get the number 2 pick, and it's this kid, Dylan Harper, and Dylan Harper at his age is as good as Fox, might be as good as Fox right now. He's not quite the shooter that Fox is. He's not quite the clutch player that Fox is, but he's a better distributor. He's probably a better defender. He's got a little more size. He's a lefty, which I always find interesting, but he can finish with both hands. And so is Fox. They're both lefties.
That's what she said. Sorry.
Yep. So, the backhand Roger Federer.
Ryan.
So I feel like he was the best pick in this draft, and I'm going to probably go down saying that, and I feel like he's going to be the star of this draft. But there is one more guy, and we'll get to him just in a little bit here. I feel like San Antonio by far won this draft, but that's just my opinion. You got Atlanta winning it. I think Atlanta for the future, especially in the East, could be the story.
Yeah, for the longer story there.
The longer haul. All right, number 3, we got Philadelphia. They picked VJ Edgecombe. He is a 6'8" bouncy guard that I view as kind of like a Donovan Mitchell. And he's going into a very similar situation because he's going into a backcourt that's already made with McCain and Tyrese Maxey. So there's a lot going on with that too. And that makes me curious if it's going to work out with those three. We almost have two similar situations going on in back-to-back picks.
Well, guard heavy. I mean, the game is 5 out or maybe a 4-1, especially with Philly if Embiid's playing. So about half the season, it's a 5 out, 4-1.
Right. I figure at this point they're looking at them to say this is what we're going towards.
Yeah.
That's me personally. I don't know for sure, but
I think if you can build around
Just
your
the
perimeter
best.
players, then I don't think you can really go wrong. You know, it's kind of like you can't go wrong making a profit. I think that your perimeter players are going to help you on both sides of the court, and I just think that it's probably the most injury prone as well because you are cutting on offense. You're using a lot more physicality at the perimeter trying to get. So it's just more lower extremity type things because you're
McCain already
exploding
got
a lot
hurt.
more. Yeah,
McCain already got
you're
hurt. So.
exploding a lot more. So
Or exploding.
you know, and then on defense, you're trying to stop people that are exploding all over you, and that's not.
Yes.
So that's difficult. That's difficult as well to stay in front of people. You know, flatten out drives, putting in all the work early, and you know, just help defense. Obviously, can be very physical, and collisions happen and stuff like that. So it's good to have. I think a lot of guards. You know, kind of like running backs. I feel of the NBA.
I think this helps with the fact that they have two of the worst contracts in the NBA, which is Paul George and Joel Embiid. They're not as bad as Bradley Beal, but they're the two second and third worst contracts in the NBA right now.
Comparing them with Bradley Beal, that's the problem.
Shows you where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, they're going to have aspirations because Philly always has aspirations. But I feel like with those three young guys, they're not in a horrible situation. I think this was the right pick. Everybody loves this kid. I told you earlier, the kid took his NIL money that he made and he sent it back to his hometown for kids to go to the private school that he's sending kids to school with the money that he made. There ain't any other guys in college that did that. He came out of Baylor. Baylor's a tough school. They're tough-minded players, and I feel like he will have just as good a chance to make something of himself. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be behind Maxey. There's no question about that. I feel like Harper will be a little bit more involved in the offense right away than Hedgecombe will be.
Right away.
He's a little more polished. Right away. Right through jail. So Philly did the right thing. It was a good pick. Now we're going to get into my favorite thing. And this is Nueppel. This kid he's from Duke too. He's a big boy. He's the best catch and shoot guy in the league or in the draft besides Trey Johnson, him and Trey Johnson both, but he's got a lot of other tools and I'm just going to say this. He's right now the best basketball player that Charlotte has right now. Like all around winning basketball player. He's better than Bridges. He's better than LaMelo. He's better than Brandon Miller. He is better than those guys right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's well polished. Coming from Duke, you know, they've been in a lot of big games in his career there. They always go pretty late into the playoffs, but you know they play in a lot of high pressure games, primetime games. So yeah, it's got that
big moments.
Feel. Yeah, it's got that feel of NBA or whatever. But you gotta play a lot more games now.
I was gonna say
nipples might get chafed, so you gotta be careful.
My question with him is: will this addition create the best offense in the Eastern Conference? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're going to him and LaMelo are definitely going to be able to play off each other.
I do too.
And I think that because what was the other option earlier before the lottery? It was like, oh, is Cooper Flagg going to go there before we knew Dallas was going to get him? And
right.
Would that ruin his career and stuff like that? So
yeah, we talked about that, and I don't. You know what? I think those kids are smart enough and good enough basketball players that I don't think anywhere they went was going to ruin their careers. I think we took a little bit too many shots at LaMelo, but
Don't give me
they're good enough
unprepared.
basketball players to make things happen. And we'll see. If LaMelo still has a 35% usage rate, this could go bad. But
Right.
I don't think Nueppel needs the ball to be good. So
Right.
it's kind of a perfect situation. I think they're going to be the best offense maybe in the league. They might be, and even better than OKC. But they will also be the worst defense in the entire league. So they're going to win games.
They're the Jameis
130.
Winston. They're the Jameis
Yeah.
Winston.
That's a perfect analogy. They're the Jameis Winston. They're going to be winning 130 to 129 and a half. That's in my opinion.
And they're going to win, and there's going to be a buzzer beater from their opponent. Or a buzzer beater that they missed.
That they missed.
Buzzer
That's
beater.
right.
Missed.
Yep. Yeah. So I think they're on their way up. This was a good pick. This was solid. He's climbed through the ranks. This guy usually goes 15 to 20, and he went 4. That's
They're
awesome.
definitely a lot of pieces away from being a contender, but yeah, that's definitely a pick in the right direction. Just a true basketball player, play off the ball, contribute in any way possible. If the shots aren't going or whatever, get out there and do something else.
Right. Number 5, this guy, if I'm wrong about Dylan Harper, this guy is the guy that will be the one that makes me wrong. And his name is Ace Bailey. And he's got all the Ja Morant stuff going on. His agent isn't certified as an agent. He's got a lot of things surrounding him that seem very sketch. He didn't want to go to Utah. He made it very clear he didn't want to go to Utah, but Danny Ainge was like, I'm going to do this anyway. And my question with him is, do you think he will be mature enough to play in a place that he doesn't want to play? I'm not saying he won't play, but I'm saying, will he have the maturity to say, okay, I'm going to turn Utah into something and I'm going to be the man here? Because that's what he is right away. He'll be the number one option for this team.
Yeah, then that kind of makes me question why he wouldn't want to go there. Maybe he does want more of a smooth transition, getting the third best defender or maybe the second at the worst. So, it's a lot of pressure. It's like Tim Couch. You go to an organization where it's like, hey, we need you, man. You're a savior, and he's like, I'm not a savior though. I just played well in college.
Right. I feel like it's because, and we've talked about this
A lot
before,
of people compare him to Brown and Tatum though. As far as that kind
he's
of player.
he's much bouncier than Brown. He's more athletic than both of them. He's super explosive. This kid he's got it. But my thing is, he's hoping to go to Washington or Brooklyn or New Orleans, but he's going to Mormon country. And honestly, they grabbed Walter Clayton Jr. too from Florida. These guys both, they said that what the notes on him are, he's made in college the most NBA shots, like shots that are NBA, like, hard, difficult shots. He's made the most. It's a solid question, and it's also a solid curiosity on my side of things.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's going to be a long road for him. He's probably going to have the toughest hill, but he's going to learn a lot. And in a couple of years, he could be all pro or all conference or something.
all NBA.
Donovan Mitchell came out of there. It's like, I don't know.
He's more explosive than Mitchell. Some of his chase down blocks look like LeBron in 2012.
You got to understand, there's a way this is a players' league. So even though he's got drafted by this team, within 2 years or 3 years, if he's doing,
he could say, "I'm not re-signing."
So
But the point is, though, at the end of a rookie contract, they can offer him the most money. So
and maybe things will go good. Sometimes when you try to, like in life, if you try to force your way out of something or force this or force, sometimes if you just let things kind of happen, you'll be like, damn, I should have just did this the whole time.
Right. I think that them and Charlotte will be the two most fun to watch teams with young talent that may not be contenders, but they will be fun as hell to watch. When I promise that if a national game's on and Ace Bailey's playing, or if Conca Nipple's playing, I'm going to be watching.
And that's what I think that is going to help, the NBA get a resurgence. It's not going to be one or two players, I don't think, because even SGA, he doesn't draw like a big, oh my gosh, like we got to go watch him tonight. He's playing tonight, or even Jokic. Not a lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait to watch his floater that bounces 3 times and then goes in. That's like my favorite. The suspense of his offense is just bring me to the TV. But if you're a true fan, then obviously
they are both real basketball fan players. You're right.
But I think that it's not going to be a Larry Bird and Magic Johnson vibe or a Michael Jordan.
Oh no.
It's going to be a lot of players. It's going to, it's not going to be even teams necessarily. It's going to be a lot of players that hopefully bring this league, back into the main light and get, more viewers and whatnot. So
I'd be willing to bet out of the rookies, I'm betting that Ace Bailey will have the most top 10 Sports Center highlights this year. That's what I would bet.
I don't know who wants to keep track of that, but if you do, that would be fucking incredible.
Hey man, it's just a random thing to say, but I think that we're gonna see this guy. We're gonna see this guy on Sports Center a lot. That's
I can already picture all that. Oh, Ace up his sleeve.
Yep, he's got. That's like you need to call the announcers and tell him he's got an ace up his sleeve. Yeah, that's good. That's real good. I like.
He
that.
knocked that person. He knocked that defender on his butt like he was drinking a little too much Bailey's.
Yeah. So number 6, we got Trey Johnson. This kid's from Texas. He is a shooter. And my question about him is, can this kid become a marathon player? Because he's not great at driving. He's not a great defender. He reminds me a lot of Klay Thompson. And I know that sounds like blasphemy, but this kid could come in and hit 8 threes in a quarter, and it wouldn't shock me at all. And true answer is not preferable, but I don't know. I hope so, because he's the only player that I researched since Klay that could just go off and knock down 3 after 3, and you're sitting there like, holy shit, this guy's on one. And that is what I'd assume. So Washington's in a situation where they're not winning much, but at the same time, I think they're trending in the right direction with him. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that he's a great pickup. The fact that they have a high pick like that is good for their organization, because they've kind of been shitty and not gotten good picks. They've been trying to scrape around, Westbrook, all sorts of Band-Aids.
Jordan Poole, the Kuzma era, that whole shit. Yeah, it was bad. So, Jordan Poole's in New Orleans now. So welcome to that.
Anything like this is great news for their organization. So yeah, I think he'll definitely help, and I think he's got a good path to, being a star and hopefully doing some work there.
Number 7 is Jeremiah Fears. This kid can handle the ball. He's the best ball handler in the entire draft.
Important.
He may be.
We're not gonna have to pay for college.
Right away, he might
a little
be
underrated, I think.
I
think ball handling's a little underrated. I think
it might be underrated, but for people in the know,
Shea is one of the best ball handlers because he can take contact or draw contact. He can dish contact and take it. So that's pretty important.
See, I think Shea has better footwork, but like straight ball handling, I would put this kid even above Shea, because this kid's small. He needs to get past people. Shea can work and then turn back and pop and hit a shot. This kid can't do that. He's not a good shooter. This is what I ask. Can a small guard who's a bad shooter and a bad defender succeed in New Orleans? And I'm thinking this is unknown, because his handling ability to get defenders off balance is the best thing in the draft. And
this is probably the worst place he could have ever went.
In a more spread out offense, it may help. And he's got guys like Hart and Trey Murphy. He's got guys to help him to quell the defensive woes, So I think that's going to help a little bit. But their entire draft, Joe Dumars, I think really fucked this draft up. With him, because I thought they could have taken Queens right there and still.
This guy reminds me of Isaiah Thomas. Pick him.
Yeah, they still could have gotten him later, maybe, instead of having to do what they did, which we'll talk about in just a sec. But for number 8, Brooklyn grabbed another guard, Igor Demin. I sent you his things from BYU. 6'9", white boy, skinny as hell, not a good defender, not a good shooter, great passer. Best passer in the entire draft. He sees all the angles. first, second, tertiary defenders, all that. He can make the passes that are needed to set people up. You gotta wonder if that will, correlate with a lot of guys that need the ball there. My question with them is how many point guards are available to put on a single roster in the NBA? Because Brooklyn is about to show us they got like 6 guys that need the ball. And I like that they're chasing creators, but they're not chasing direction, just as usual. We talked about them being one of the worst drafting teams of all time.
Yeah, they have no identity, and I don't know if a guy that can't put the ball in the hoop necessarily. He's like Dinwiddie.
He is.
He's just, just
he
a
is
role
what he
player.
is. But he's 6'9", and that's the only thing. I do like his height. I like his ability to pass. We'll just
he looks good. His playmaking looks incredible, but if you can't score in the NBA, it's hard to make plays off.
Right. People don't fear you like that. That's true. I feel like his ability to see over the top will maybe overcome some of that. Because 6'9" is hard to guard regardless. It's just hard to guard 6'9".
Yeah,
so
I think he'll get better offensively, and his skill set will improve.
It will. It will.
Because he has something he has intangibles that a lot of players don't have.
He does. He does.
Teach.
He's got that, he's like the opposite of Cooper Flagg. He's got the intangibles. He just doesn't have the size, like the bulk and skill to actually make him work. And he's not a shooter that Cooper Flagg is, nothing like that. But I'm just saying he has the IQ for it.
Right.
We're just going to have to see if he can put his physicality. He's going to get hunted on defense. He's going to get.
Yeah. They should definitely make a Rocky montage of him trying to get stronger, though.
Yes, or a Rocky montage of guys looking like Mr. T when they go into his chest and knock him over going to the hoop. Shay's going to make him foul out in the first 6 minutes of a game, and we'll be like, damn.
That's a record for a player to pick up 6 fouls for 1 per minute.
We'll go quick on these next 2. Colin Murray Boyles for Toronto.
Bill Murray's son. I did a little research on him.
Bill
That's
Murray
all I did,
and Susan Boyle's son. Can they call an unorthodox?
Got 2 bumps and a boil. I ain't trying to date no nutty buddy.
Who needs shooting around him to succeed with a team with no shooting? I don't think that this makes Toronto that much better. Kendrick Perkins said this makes them a top 6 team in the East. No, they're not. They are not a top 6 team in the East. Not with this. That I don't think this one matters that much. And finally, at number 10, you got Cayman Maluak. I'm sorry. Cayman Maluak. He was the center out of Duke. He played
with my mom. What?
He played with Nueppel and with Cooper. And he's a stud. He went to Phoenix. And I think that they might be building towards big men because they've got 3 centers now. So they grabbed Mark Williams from Charlotte, and they grabbed the other guy from Charlotte too. I can't remember his name, but they have 3 centers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this now that they've lost KD. But the shift from Durant to 3 centers, does this give a team a direction? No. I feel horrible for Devin Booker. He's about to prove that loyalty can make you what could have been, and I think that's what we'll say about him in 10 years.
Yeah, I think Devin Booker will be the new Russell Wilson.
Russell Westbrook or Russell Wilson?
Wilson. He's doing crazy commercials, trying to be like, let's fly, let's hawk, let's bird.
Let's burn. Let's sunburn. We're in Phoenix.
Let's bug people at the beach when they're eating sandwiches.
Let's Charles Barkley.
Let's make loud ass noises and make people look up when they're trying to ride on the jet ski.
All right. Real quick, I'm going to go into what Atlanta did to Joe Dumars because he's an idiot. Joe Dumars traded an unprotected first-round pick to move up 10 spots to get Derek Queens. And Derek Queens is a chubby guy with bad habits that is a good offensive player, natural skills, but you are putting another Zion Williamson with Zion Williamson in a place where when your plane lands, you gain 5 pounds because there's so much fried food in New Orleans. Seriously, what was Joe Dumars
just smelling the air? Probably.
Do you think this is a situation where like people forgot how bad he was? So basically, like you can fuck up so bad, and then 20 years later, people are like, give him another shot. That shouldn't happen. That's basically like a serial killer, like 20 years from now, being like, I'll be all right if I get out, and they're just like, yeah, you will.
I think everybody will be all right. All your friends,
everybody will be all right, my friends. Yeah. Yeah, that one girl who broke up with me in high school, I still got her ass. What? Parole.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
Yeah.
I learned 2 things from this draft.
What's that?
One, there's a lot of Europeans. They got a lot of professional, overseas professional players got picked up. And
Yep.
as far as like Joe Dumars and some of the trades that have been happening lately, I just got to remind him of one of my favorite quotes. Within the first 15 minutes of you sitting at a poker table, you can't realize who the chump is. You are the chump.
You are the chump. That's right. Boom. Mic drop. So look, one more quick thing. Okay, so for Javonte Murray, for Javonte Murray and for the draft rights to Derek Queens, they got Dyson Daniels, who's one of the best on-ball defenders in the entire league, Larry Nance Jr., who's no slouch, and probably a top 5 pick in next year's draft, which is about to be super deep as well.
Yeah. They fleeced him.
They fleeced him
Got
2
their
years in a
ass.
row with 2 different GMs.
Speaking of fleece, it is hot outside.
It is hot.
That being said, this episode was too. I appreciate you, brother.
66. Way to put it down, baby.
Follow us on YouTube, maybe Twitch or something to come.
We'll get working again soon. We're gonna get into fantasy football. Summer's gonna be hot. And we're gonna make it work. All right, brother. I love you.
Love you, man.
This has been
Good to see
episode 66. 2 Gents talking sports and shit. We out.
Gentlemen. Pressure makes diamonds are cold.
Gentlemen.
Diamonds are cold, yeah.
Gentlemen.
Pressure makes diamonds are cold.
Gentlemen.
Diamonds are cold, yeah. It's just 2 dudes being gents talking sports.
That's what I love about Wyatt. He can talk himself into anything.
Peace.